Hi, I'm Stefan, the BMW DIY guy, and do you want to massively upgrade the audio in your BMW? I'll show you how. All right, so let's talk about this project and the reasons why you're going to want to do this yourself. This is really a special project today and going to be a little bit different. We're going to be installing the Audison Forza 12-channel amp into a BMW X3, but we have two incredible resources today to make the project even easier. Now, first of all, we're going to be working up at actually the shop at Car Toys because they're going to give us some space to work. And more importantly, we're going to be working with Ken from Audison. If you're here from the Pacific Northwest, Ken is an absolute legend in the local area for many decades for the automotive audio industry and is going to give an absolute masterclass of how to set this up. So you can use this to walk through and do the install yourself for sure, but it's the tuning that makes all of the difference. And for most people, it's what you need the amp upgrade. The HK speakers are not bad, but honestly, they're tuned very, very poorly. It's just the truth. They're not set up well. So with this Forza amp and with Ken's masterclass skill, he's going to dial this entire system into something that you wouldn't believe how good it truly is. You don't necessarily have to upgrade your speakers, and one of the best places to start is with the amp itself. So I'm going to walk you through this process. I'm going to show you how to install it. It's going to be a little bit different today. I'm going to a little bit be more behind the camera than in front of it, but I wanted to walk you through it, and then I'll show you the experience of what it looks like for Ken to actually dial this system in. All right, so let's get up to Car Toys. Let's get started with Ken. This is going to be a fantastic project. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and get started here. So you're going to hear me off and on this, plus Ken from Audison, who's going to be doing a bunch of the work here today. So we've really got an advantage here in this G01 X3. So your amp is no longer one device. It's actually divided between a RAM and a booster. Now, the best part of this is actually on this big mounting plate that you see Ken starting to take off. These are 4 10mm bolts. And then this whole plate will come off. Now, the other good part is you can see up above the silver box right there, that is awesome space to install the new amp, because one of the big things you want to avoid is stuffing the amp into a space where it will overheat. We've got plenty of space that's going to mount really, really cleanly on a mounting board. So very first thing we're going to do is loosen up this plate so Ken can get all of this out, and we'll get the new amp mounted.
One of the things that I'm going to mention while I'm doing this is that once you start disconnecting things, you don't want to push the ignition button. You don't want to turn on the car until everything is reconnected. That goes especially when you're going to phase 2 of the installation if you're replacing underseat woofers, because unbolting the seat and disconnecting the seat, there's airbags in the seat. You'll trigger an SRS light if you turn the key on with any of those things disconnected.
All right, y'all, so what we need to do next is we're gonna have to disconnect the battery, because as we connect the positive post and ground and everything else for the amp, you wanna make sure that that system's not charged while you do it. So you have to get it underneath the carpet here in the back, little twist ties that'll pop up.
The other thing that we're going to point out is that you don't want to ground here. The reason you don't want to ground here is that there's a sensor in the ground strap that measures the current consumption of the vehicle through the ground strap. And the ground strap actually goes down here and it attaches to the body of the vehicle. You want to ground to the point that the body of the vehicle is grounding the battery, so that all the electrons that power the amplifier make a trip through this sensor. Otherwise, the car won't understand what the draw is from the electrical system. We'll skip how I know that.
All right, guys, so a quick catch up here so you can see that the ground wire is connected. I just want to make sure to show the orientation of that, and then we come across, we're going to attach the power as well. You can lift the cover. There's an accessory connection right here. So just peel this cover back, get that connected, and then slide this cover back up into place and cover your positive battery post. All right, so the install is done, as you can tell, and we had a huge advantage of the services of the techs at Car Toys today who made that incredibly cool mounting plate that even has an LED in it. You don't necessarily have to go that far. You absolutely could, say for example, use some 3M tape on the back of the amp, mounting it in the same location. You could stick it there, you could put zip ties around it. If you have the ability of a little bit of that hard board material, you could get a board that mounts on right there and then screw the amp in. There's a lot of different options. We were able to go a little extra today because of the services and the professionality of the staff at Car Toys, which I am incredibly thankful for. So now here comes the really important part, jumping in at all of the tuning. Now I'm going to show you this at a high level. The level of detail of what Ken is doing is incredibly intricate. I mean, we could zoom in and follow every possible setting, but the most important thing that he's doing are really can be summarized in two different ways. So the first thing, and when we're looking at some of those graphs, when you watch the rest of the video, you'll see where he'll set a baseline. And then you'll see the existing amp and the existing speakers, and they're just all over the place. You'll have certain frequencies that are way high above the baseline, others that are low, all over the place. What he's trying to do is bring them all up and even. The other thing is also setting the amps properly underneath the seats, as they can be really, really hot, really, really high in their frequencies, and they have to blend in perfectly with the rest. Now, even more importantly, and this is where Ken's skill comes in, this is called a two-seat setup. Most of the time in most tunes, everything is focused just on the driver's side. All the speakers are set to focus in on the driver's side, and the quality through the rest of the car suffers. Not with Ken. What he's doing with his level of ability is he's tuning the entire system to work equally in both front seats. That's not an easy thing to do, and it's something that he takes his time to do and set up properly. And one of the things I'm most excited about. So not only is he going to dial the system in better than the factory has ever been, but then he's going to set it up in a way that even BMW doesn't do. I'm going to have really, really high quality audio in both seats. So as you follow through the process, I'm going to summarize the tuning, and you're going to see the efforts that he goes through, because it is very, very complicated. But I do want you to see that process, and as a testament to the skill of someone like Ken. All right, so let's jump in. Let's see what he does as he works his magic.
The fun part isn't the input equalizer. The fun part, oh, I'm playing mono pink noise at 75% volume right now, is the input real-time analyzer. So here is what is coming in the left front. That is what is coming into the left front door. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to set my flat line so that I can do this. And is this at the, let's see, is this at the right? No, it's not. I want to take this and I want to go down to like 25, and then I want to put this at like 75. That's exactly where I want it. That's really cool. I am going to set this channel to flat. Now you see all this boost right here at about 180? That is the system, the person that tuned the system, which had very low power, asking for a lot of upper bass output, thank you, from these 4-inch speakers. That's not really practical. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to make this channel flat. So if I put my arrow here and I say, hey, that's about 180, I'm going to take this channel and I'm going to put it at 180, and I'm going to grab this slider and I'm going to make the noise. Wah, wah. And my goal is to get it down to a flat line. It's not going to be a perfectly flat line, but it's going to be flatter than those $20,000 record players they sell at Definitive. All right, so here's a peak at 390. Unusual spot, 390. It is also a really narrow peak, so I'm going to put that at a pretty narrow filter. I'm going to drag this down, and you can see that we're taking that energy out. And you can see that already we have a signal that's much more linear. It's much closer to a flat line. There's nothing that says that a flat line is going to sound good. That's not my point. My point is that I'm going to tune this system differently than the factory did. And in order to do that, I have to undo what they did first. This car is a two-seat car that's tuned symmetrically left and right, which means that when I DEQ the left channel, I can just copy it over to the right channel and save myself a lot of work because they're identical. The car is tuned identically. So I can DEQ the left, copy it to the right, DEQ the rear left, copy it to the rear right. You know, so this right here makes sure the crossovers work right and gets rid of all that boost at 120 that they had on the factory floor. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this copy button and copy it over to the front right. And now the front right is also done.
Nice. Text more.
So here's rear, and you can see the rear speaker has a very similar sort of lots of boost, but not at the same spot. And then we need to put a little peak at 837 to fill that. And this is much more than we really need to be doing for rear speakers, because rear speakers are not something that generally get listened to critically, especially with cars that have car seats in the back. But we're kind of doing it here just as an exercise to show that we can. We're not probably going to do much of this with the surrounds, because surrounds play weird sounds that nobody expects. Okay, so I'm going to take that and I'm going to copy it over to the other rear. And now I've got the front 4 channels all how I want them. Look at that. So now I'm going to go to the surrounds real quick just to make sure they work. And you can see they're weird, and I'm just gonna kind of leave them. Wait, where'd I go? Channel 5. Okay, I'm gonna take 500 and bring it down because it's too loud, and that's it. You know what? Fine. Too much. Okay, there we go. So now we're gonna get to the center, and that's gonna be channel 7. And this is the most important speaker in the entire car from a sound quality perspective. So it's good that we're doing this. Man, that sounds really annoying to take 1,000 hertz and make it that loud, doesn't it? So let's bring this down. Oh, that's pretty good. For a center speaker,
Yeah.
I do want to turn down 1,300. Do I have anything unused? I do. Let's take 1,600. Let's put it at 1,300. And let's put it at like 3. And let's do this. All right. We're great. We're doing great. Let's look at the woofers. Here's the left woofer. And I need to add my target curve back in. So let's go back to left front, and let's put my target curve right there. And then let's go to channel 9. And you see how big that is? All right, so let's go to the left woofer. There is a peak at 71. So we're gonna take this EQ, we're gonna go to 71, and we're gonna lower this because we want the crossover filter to also be smooth. And right now it's not. So this crossover is kicking in at about 100, which is about where the other one kicked in. So now if I add the left woofer and the left door together, you see how there's a dip right here? And if I take it away, oh, there's still a dip there. So there's a gap, but there's not a cancellation. So let's see what I can do here to go to 120 and bring that up a little. I'll call 140. All right, and now if I add them together, do they meet each other? No, you see how now they got quieter? What this means is these two speakers are out of phase with each other, and when you add them together, the signal for these two speakers cancel each other out right there. If only there was something I could do to fix it. So now there's actually too much. You see what I did? So now I actually have to take that 140 and put it back to 0 because we don't need it. I can actually probably even pull a little bit out. So we are almost to where our speakers are adding together nicely. One thing we're gonna have to do here is we have a little peak at 975, and then we're gonna listen to it. And I'm going to put a broad bass dip at 2,500 hertz because center speakers do better for us when we do that. It has to do with the way stereo speakers sound when we have two ears and one on each side of our head, and then when we listen to a center speaker, we don't get that effect. And so adding that dip in at 2500 approximates that effect. So what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to write this to the hardware, and I'm going to jump in the car and I'm going to listen to it and make some adjustments, and we're going to ship it.
All right, y'all, we're all done. Now, the one thing that I can't sample for you is the quality of the audio sitting in the seats. I'm one of those people that gets goosebumps with good music. And after all of the tuning and getting it set up with pink noise and all the levels set up right and all the blending and bridging between all of the speakers and everything that Ken did, jumped into the front seat, fired up the first of a set of some sample music, and I instantaneously got goosebumps. It is unbelievably better. And keep in mind, these are the factory speakers. So when you look at this isn't necessarily something where you have to tear out the entire system just to get good audio. What you need is a very, very good amp and a really good tune. So this is something that will transform the audio in your car and is absolutely worth it. So I want to express how grateful I am to Audison. This is a really impressive product. I could definitely install the amp, but it takes experience and knowledge to get it set up properly, which is why when I had this opportunity to work with Ken and work with the Car Toys shop, I leapt at it, said, yes, please, let me work with you to get this set up. I'm really grateful to the staff at Car Toys. They were incredible. They went above and beyond all day to help out in every single way. And I saw a level of detail and professionality that I've never seen before in their setup and how they operate. It was really impressive. And I'll be honest, I learned all day long. I paid very close attention to what Ken was doing, to what the Car Toys staff was doing. And I know any installs that I do that are related moving forward are going to be better because of what I saw today. It was really, really impressive. So thank you so much for watching. Please consider doing this in your car. Now, Audison is not BMW only, but I don't know why you wouldn't do this in any BMW. This is going to make a transformative difference in your audio, and I could not believe it listening to the samples. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Please make sure to click like and subscribe. It makes a genuine difference to my channel, and I would truly appreciate it. I'll see you on my next video.